10 cities, swallowed whole by jungle, by sand, by the ocean itself, and left in the dark for thousands of years. Then, one by one, somebody found them. Somebody broke the seal, and what crawled back out into the daylight was never the treasure they were promised. It was warnings. It was mass graves. It was questions the people who dug them up still will not say out loud on camera, counting down the 10 lost cities they should never have dug up. And number 1 made an entire expedition turn around and go home. Number 10. Ciudad Perdida, the lost city. Deep in the Sierra Nevada mountains of Colombia, hidden under 900 years of rainforest, sits a city of stone terraces, staircases, and circular plazas built by the Tairona people around the year 800. 6 centuries before Machu Picchu. For nearly 400 years after the Tairona vanished, the jungle simply ate it. No road, no path, no name, nothing. It was rediscovered in the 1972, not by archaeologists, but by looters. Grave robbers hunting gold. They fought each other over the site in gun battles the locals came to call the Gold War. To reach it today, you climb 1,200 stone steps through territory that, for decades, was controlled by armed guerrillas. Some doors, the jungle guards on its own. Number 9. Pavlopetri. Just off the southern coast of Greece, in only a few meters of clear blue water, lies an entire city laid out beneath the waves. Streets, courtyards, buildings, and graves, all perfectly mapped on the seabed. It is at least 5,000 years old, older than the pyramids. The oldest submerged city ever found. Walk those drowned streets and a single question follows you down. What put an entire living city under the sea? The leading answer is earthquakes. This stretch of coast sits on a fault that has dropped the land again and again. But Pavlopetri did not crumble. It sank fully intact, as if the ocean reached up one afternoon and pulled the whole town under in a single breath. Its people left no warning and no goodbye. Number 8. Akrotiri. On the Greek island of Santorini, beneath layers of volcanic ash, lay a Bronze Age city so advanced. It had multi-story buildings, indoor plumbing, hot and cold running water, and walls covered in painted frescoes brighter than anything its age should allow. 3,500 years ago, it was one of the most sophisticated places on Earth. Then, the volcano detonated. One of the largest eruptions in human history buried Akrotiri exactly as it stood. But here is the part that haunts every excavator who has worked the site. When they dug it out, they found the food still in the storerooms, the tools still in place, the city perfectly preserved, and not a single human body. The entire population vanished before the ash fell, they knew. Somehow, every last one of them knew it was coming. And to this day, no one can say where they went. Number 7. Thonis Heraklion. For over 1,000 years, it was Egypt's greatest port, the gateway through which every ship entering the country had to pass. Giant statues, towering temples, gold, a forest of ships' masts. The ancient writers described it in awe. And then, for centuries, scholars decided it had never existed at all. A legend, a myth. It existed. In the year 2000, divers found the entire lost city sitting on the floor of the Mediterranean. Statues 16 feet tall, sunken temples, dozens of ancient shipwrecks, gold coins scattered in the sand. The whole city had slid beneath the waves more than 1,000 years ago, dragged down as the waterlogged ground simply liquefied and gave way. A city the size of a metropolis, gone in a heartbeat. And the sea kept it hidden so well that for 1,000 years the world agreed it was only a story. Number 6. Petra. Hidden inside a slot canyon in the deserts of Jordan, carved directly into towering rose-red cliffs, sits a city the Nabateans built 2,000 years ago. Temples, tombs, and treasuries cut by hand straight out of solid rock. At its height, it was home to tens of thousands of people, fed by a hidden network of channels that pulled water out of bare desert. Then the trade routes shifted. 2 massive earthquakes shattered its waterways, and Petra was abandoned to the sand. For over 1,000 years, the Western world forgot it entirely. In 1812, a Swiss explorer disguised himself in local robes, lied his way past the tribes who guarded the canyon, and slipped inside to lay eyes on it. The Guardians believed treasure was hidden in the carved facades, and for generations they fired bullets at the ancient stone urns above the doorways, trying to crack them open. The scars are still there, a city the world walked away from, and then shot at when it came back. Number 5. Mohenjo-Daro. 4,500 years ago, in what is now Pakistan, this was one of the most advanced cities humanity had ever built. Grid-planned streets, the world's first urban sanitation, public baths, and a population of tens of thousands. a civilization at the absolute peak of the ancient world. And then it was abandoned, lost, and forgotten so completely that its own name was erased. We do not even know what its builders called it. Mohenjo-Daro is a modern phrase. It means mound of the dead. When archaeologists dug down through the layers of the city, they found something no one has ever fully explained. Scattered through the streets and houses of the upper levels, skeletons, sprawled where they fell, some holding hands, some lying in doorways. No mass grave, no ceremony, no burial. Just bodies, left exactly where death found them, in the streets of a great city. And then everyone who survived simply walked away and never came back. What killed Mohenjo-Daro is still argued over today, but the dead, lying unburied in their own city, were a warning the diggers will never forget. Number 4. Angkor. 800 years ago in the jungles of Cambodia, this was the largest city on the face of the earth. 750,000 people. A capital so vast its sprawl would not be matched by any city again for centuries. Stone temples by the hundreds, towers shaped like lotus flowers. A network of canals and reservoirs engineered on a scale that still stuns modern surveyors. The beating heart of an empire. And the jungle took all of it. As the climate turned and the great waterworks failed, Angkor was abandoned, and the rainforest moved in like a slow flood. When explorers hacked their way back to it, they found temples in the grip of monstrous strangler fig trees. Roots like enormous pale fingers pouring over the rooftops, prying the stone walls apart, swallowing carved faces whole. The forest had not just covered the city, it had grown through it. You cannot remove the trees now without the temples collapsing. The jungle and the ruin have become one thing. You cannot save the city without the thing that is killing it. Number 3. Pompeii. On a single day in the year 79, the Roman city of Pompeii was going about its ordinary business. Markets open, bread in the ovens, dogs chained in the yards. When Mount Vesuvius erupted and buried the entire city under 20 feet of ash and rock in a matter of hours. Thousands died where they stood, and then for nearly 1,700 years. Pompeii was simply gone, erased from the map. When they finally dug it out, they discovered something nobody expected. The bodies had rotted away, but the hardened ash had held their exact shape, perfect hollow molds of the dying. So the excavators poured plaster into the cavities, and up came the people of Pompeii in their final instant. A man shielding his face, a mother curled over her child, a dog twisted against its chain, faces locked mid-scream, frozen at the exact second the world ended. We did not dig up a city. We dug up the moment of its death and cast it in plaster so we could look at it forever. Number 2. Ciudad Blanca, the White City. For 500 years, legends out of Honduras spoke of a lost city of gold hidden in the deepest, most impenetrable rainforest in Central America, a place the local people refused to enter, warning that anyone who disturbed it would be struck down. Explorers spent their lives and their fortunes hunting it. Several walked into that jungle looking for it. Several never walked back out. In 2015, an expedition finally found it, a genuine lost city untouched, with carved stone artifacts still sitting exactly where they were left, undisturbed for perhaps 1,000 years. A triumph. And then one after another, the members of the expedition fell ill. A flesh-destroying parasite carried by the sandflies of that valley got into them, eating into the skin and the face. Doctors back home struggled to even treat it. The locals had warned for centuries that the city would punish anyone who broke its silence. The scientists laughed at the curse. Then they came home, and the curse came home with them. And the number 1 lost city they should never have dug up, the one that broke the people who found it. Deep in a sealed valley, an expedition reached a buried city no living eyes had seen in thousands of years. The team had spent everything to get there. Months of jungle, fortunes, careers, the seal was finally in front of them. The door of the dark was right there. Everything they had ever worked for was on the other side of it. And then they cracked it open. What was inside was not gold. It was the dead, row upon row of them. A city that had not been abandoned, it had been sealed from the inside. The people had walled themselves into the dark on purpose and stayed there. Carved across the threshold, in a language the team could read just well enough to wish they could not, was a single instruction: leave it closed. The air came out wrong. The lamps guttered. 3 of the diggers were on the ground within the hour, burning with a fever no one could name. The expedition leader gave the only order that mattered. He told them to seal it back up, to put the stone back across the door, to log the coordinates, and to walk away from the single greatest find of all their lives. They had spent everything to open that door, and they closed it again with their own hands and turned around and went home. When the survivors were asked years later what was really in that city, not one of them would say it on camera. Some doors they had finally understood were sealed from the inside for a reason, and the dead behind them had asked for only one thing: to be left in the dark. 10 cities, pulled out of the jungle, the sand, and the sea after thousands of years of silence. Every one of them was hidden for a reason, and every team that broke the seal found out the reason a little too late. We dig because we cannot stand a closed door. But some of these cities were not lost. They were hidden, and there is a difference. If this one got under your skin, subscribe and hit the bell, because next week, we are opening another door that should have stayed shut.